Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into the world of Vikings, those legendary seafarers of the north. We're about to explore 25 fascinating facts about Vikings. Fact 1. When you hear the word Viking, what comes to mind? For many, it's the image of a longship slicing through the waves, its sail billowing against a stormy sky. Vikings were masters of the sea, their longships legendary for their speed and maneuverability. These vessels enabled trade, exploration, and raids across vast distances. Now the word Viking often conjures up images of fierce warriors, helmets gleaming, axes raised in a war cry. But they were also skilled traders, explorers, and even farmers and artisans. They established trade routes, explored new lands, and contributed to a rich society. Let's address the elephant, or rather the horned helmet, in the room. You know that iconic image of a Viking warrior roaring into battle with a helmet adorned with giant horns? Yeah, about that. It's about as historically accurate as a T-Rex wearing a monocle. Archaeologists have yet to unearth a single Viking helmet with horns. Not one. Fact 5. Viking women breaking the mold. Viking women enjoyed a surprising degree of agency and independence. They could own property, inherit wealth, and divorce their husbands. Some even became warriors, challenging societal norms. Fact 6. Runes, the language of the North. Imagine a writing system so ancient, so steeped in mystery, that it was believed to hold magical powers. Runes were the alphabet used by the Vikings and other Germanic peoples. Carved into stone, wood, and bone, runes were seen as a bridge between worlds. Each rune represented a concept, an object, or even a god. Fact 7. Columbus wasn't the first European to set foot on North American soil. That honor belongs to the Vikings. Leif Erikson established a settlement in Newfoundland, Canada. The Vikings truly bridged the Atlantic centuries earlier. Fact 8. Hygiene in the age of Vikings. Our Viking friends were surprisingly ahead of the curve when it came to cleanliness. Excavations revealed combs, tweezers, ear cleaners, and razors, indicating a culture that cared about personal grooming. And get this, the Vikings bathed at least once a week. Fact 9. A flat earth? Think again. Contrary to popular belief, Vikings did not think the earth was flat. They had a sophisticated understanding of astronomy and navigation. Navigating vast oceans, they relied on stars, the sun, and waves. They observed the Earth's curvature as ships disappeared over the horizon. Fact 10. Of gods and monsters. The Viking world was one of myth and legend, a realm where gods walked among mortals and monsters lurked in the shadows. Their mythology, passed down through generations in the form of epic poems and sagas, is a rich tapestry of gods, giants, dwarves, and fantastical creatures. Picture this, a snowy landscape, pristine and white, stretching out as far as the eye can see. Suddenly, a figure emerges, gliding effortlessly across the snow. It's a Viking on skis. Now here's where we separate the historical Vikings from the Hollywood Vikings. While those silver screen warriors might whip out a compass, the truth is a bit more nuanced. The Vikings didn't invent the compass. That credit goes to ancient China. Vikings relied on sharp observation skills, knowledge of the stars, and a sunstone crystal. When we think of Vikings, we often picture them raiding the coasts of Britain and France, right? But their influence extended far beyond Western Europe. They ventured eastward, establishing a presence in what is now Russia. They traded with the Slavic people and founded cities like Novgorod. Move over, ancient Athens. The Vikings had their own brand of democracy brewing in the north. Forget images of kings ruling with an iron fist. Viking society, while certainly hierarchical, also had elements of democratic governance. They had assemblies known as things, where free men could discuss law, resolve disputes, and elect leaders. I've never wondered how the Vikings navigated those vast, featureless expanses of open ocean. Sure, they had the stars and the sun, but what about when clouds obscured the sky? Well, it turns out the Vikings had a secret weapon, ravens. These intelligent birds, often associated with Odin himself, were living, breathing navigational tools. Vikings would release ravens to get their bearings. The ravens would instinctively seek out land. By observing the ravens' flight, the Vikings could plot their course. Let's talk about tattoos, those permanent works of art etched onto the canvas of our skin. These days, tattoos are everywhere, a form of self-expression. But what about the Vikings? Were they inked-up warriors? The evidence is murky. Popular culture shows tattooed Vikings, but there's little archaeological proof. No preserved skin with tattoos, and written accounts are scarce. So, while it's possible, we can't say for sure how common or elaborate they were. Imagine a great hall, fire roaring in the hearth, the air thick with the smell of roasted meat and mead. You got it. The Vikings loved a good party, with ale and mead flowing freely. Ale, made from barley, was their everyday drink. Mead from fermented honey was for special occasions. So raise your horns to the Vikings, who knew how to celebrate in style. In the Viking Age, honor wasn't just a word, it was a way of life. Matters of honor were often settled through a duel. Enter the holmgang, a type of Viking duel on a designated island. Armed with swords or axes, duelists fought until one emerged victorious. Holmgangs were about strategy, skill, and courage. Now let's talk about gunpowder, that explosive invention that revolutionized warfare. While the Vikings were innovative, they didn't introduce gunpowder to Europe. That honor goes to the East. Gunpowder was a Chinese invention, developed centuries before the Vikings. The Vikings had a complex relationship with death. They believed in an afterlife, a realm known as Valhalla, ruled by Odin. Valhalla was a warrior's paradise where the brave feasted and fought forever. Some Vikings ensured their place with a ship burial surrounded by treasures. The Vikings weren't just fierce warriors, they were also talented artists, leaving behind a legacy of intricate and evocative art. Their art, known as Norse art, featured intricate patterns, stylized animal figures and scenes from Norse mythology. From longships to runestones, Viking art reflected their beliefs, values and unique worldview. Now this one's more fiction than fact. While the Vikings loved animals, there's no evidence they kept polar bears as pets. These massive predators were more likely viewed as a source of food and fur. Imagine sailing across the vast expanse of the North Atlantic, the sun hidden behind clouds, no landmarks in sight. How did the Vikings navigate without a compass? The answer might lie in a mysterious object known as a sunstone. These crystals polarize light, allowing navigators to find the sun even on cloudy days. Long before the days of Netflix and video games, the Vikings had their own form of entertainment storytelling. Gathered around the hearth in the evenings, families and communities would share stories, myths and legends. These tales preserved history, taught lessons and entertained. They're a window into the heart and soul of Viking culture. The Vikings were renowned for their raiding prowess, striking fear into the hearts of coastal communities across Europe. Monasteries, with their wealth and treasures, were particularly tempting targets for Viking raiders. These isolated religious communities were seen as easy pickings for Vikings seeking to plunder valuables. The Viking Age, spanning from the 8th to the 11th centuries, was a time of great change in Europe. The Vikings, with their longships and unique culture, left an indelible mark on history. They were explorers, traders and warriors, their influence reaching far beyond Scandinavia. So there you have it, folks. 25 fascinating facts about the Vikings. Subscribe for more historical deep dives and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode.